world-class astrologer, tarot master, spellcaster, modern-day alchemist, and all-around magical being. And I'm here today to talk to you about February 2021. There's a lot going on this month, and it's going to be very interesting. It's already started out that way because Mercury is retrograde. Again, Mercury goes retrograde 3 or 4 times a year for about 3 to 3.5 weeks each time. And when that happens, all kinds of things happen. Communications can get mixed up. There's roadways that we expected to be open and clear, that all of a sudden there's road work on. The things that are important to us or that we've always known to be a certain way can suddenly change. Your reservations somewhere may or may not still be intact. So a lot can happen. What else can happen is you can take the time of Mercury retrograde and look within. You can do great research during that time because research is about digging for what is hidden, going within, meditation, going on some sort of retreat. This is all Mercury retrograde territory. And you can benefit a great deal from going within instead of pushing against the tide that has its own agenda. And the tide of Mercury retrograde is things are going to happen the way they happen, out of the ordinary, and you would best know how to find peace and solace within yourself. So, this whole month from today until February 20th will be Mercury retrograde. It's just the last 8 days that Mercury will go direct. So we have an entire month of most interesting things happening. This Mercury retrograde is bringing on a month of contradictions. And that's what February this year is to me. It's a month of contradictions. And a contradiction isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's a thing to pay attention to. So, as I talk to you about what I see for this month, take into consideration what I'm saying means to you and make note of how this month rolls out for you. And you'll begin to see where there are great contradictions coming up and where there's great cooperation coming up. Both of those are CO words, co words. So this is about you and another person or you and an entity coming together and making your peace with whatever circumstances appear between the two of you. So let's start with how this month is going to be a very deep, very intense, very special month. A lot is going on. And what we do this month, a lot of what we do this month is going to be the blueprint for what we're going to do for most of the year. So if there's a project that you need to start, or there's something that you need to do, or some place you want to go, this would be a good time to go and do that. We'll start with today, February 1st. The Sun square Mars. Well, the day is almost over, however, not too late to get into a Sun square Mars situation. Sun square Mars generally means the Sun, the life force, the ego of us all, the heart, is in an abrasive aspect or confrontational aspect with the planet of how we take action, the planet of arguments, the planet of passion without thought. So if the sun is square Mars, what your heart wants to do and what you do are not always the same thing. You're being asked, as we start out this month, you're being asked to be mindful of what your heart wants and mindful of how you operate, how you move to get what your heart wants. You want to be your own best friend, your own ally. And Sun square Mars on the surface appears to separate the whole idea of allies, but it actually gives an opportunity to say, wait a minute, how do I need to support myself to move forward and make my heart's desire come true? Now, today, that aspect is at its peak, and for the next 3 days, it will slowly but surely dissipate. So be careful over the next 3 days. Watch how you move. or as the English say, mind how you go. Mind how you go this next 3 days, because you will really begin to see what truly motivates you and whether or not it's motivating you or goading you. You don't want to be goaded into doing something that you'll regret. You want to be motivated to do something that's going to help you build who you are and your agenda for what you want to bring into the world. The next day we're going to look at is February 6th. Venus, the planet of relationships, the planet of beauty, the planet of creativity, is going to be together with Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of what is. Saturn is the planet of the facts. So this is a great time to start on a project, or if you've started on it and put it aside, to pick that project up again and bring it to completion. Because now the force of the universe is with you. Venus is your feelings, your emotions, and it's coming together and forming a close partnership, a close alliance with the planet Saturn. This is the time to get that thing done, to get it finished, to get it polished, to get it out there. If there's something that you know you need to do, now is the time. So February 6th, a big day and a great day for you. And you would think that Venus, the planet of softness, and Saturn, the planet of hardness, would have difficulty working together. But there again, as I said, a month of contradictions. There again, they work really well together. The next aspect we're looking at is the sun, the life force, the ego, the heart, our brilliance, together with Mercury, how we think, how we gather and process information, how we communicate. This is a time when the passion of your sun, remember it rules the heart, when the passion of your sun comes together with the brilliance of your mind, or at least we hope that's what's happening. So the brilliance of your mind sometimes is not always brilliant, but with the sun involved, you can think you're being brilliant. Please take care to notice how you're thinking, what you're thinking, what motivated you or encourages you to think that way, so that you don't have to look back later and go, oh, did I do that? The Sun conjunct Mercury is great because you back yourself. You put yourself into what you think. You put what you think into who you are. But we do need to have a little bit of light in between the two, because if you don't have that light, you have them knowing the sun and Mercury, knowing that they can do no wrong. And the person who starts to believe that winds up in a lot of trouble. So you need to, during this time, own your projects, own your ideas, and take responsibility for those ideas and manage them so that those ideas are productive, so that those ideas help you get what you want, as opposed to assisting you in having to clean up. Because when the sun is together with Mercury, very often, as I said before, the ego leads. And you don't want the ego to lead. You really want spirit to lead. And if you're listening closely and correctly, you will hear spirit and you will allow spirit to direct the energy of your sun, your life force. February 11th is the new moon in Aquarius. This is a great new moon. It is a time for moon water, and I speak about moon water every time I create one of these videos, because there are two moons that I pay attention to. The new moon, the seed that's planted, the beginning of things, and the full moon, the fruition of the seed that's been planted. Both of them, I ask you to make moon water. What? How do you do that? You take a cup or a vessel of your choice and you fill it with water and you set that in the window or wherever it'll get the rays of the moon. And for those of you who want to set it outside, you have that kind of freedom. Definitely cover your vessel because critters will crawl in. And I've discovered sadly that critters will crawl in if you're setting your cup or your vessel on your windowsill, because critters have a way of knowing what you don't want them involved with, and they will show up. So the moon water is great because it's being energized by the moon and the particular moon of this time. And the energy of this moon is going to give you the energy of the moon water is going to give you all of the energy of this particular moon. And especially this year, this month of February, when the moon is in Aquarius, as the sun is in Aquarius. This is genius. This is divine insight. This is friends. These are organizations coming together to help. This is the humanitarian spirit. This is what we want and what we need in the world. This is also some quirkiness and some weirdness. That's not always a bad thing. This is a time to look at things from another perspective when we have the new moon, that's the sun and the moon in the same sign, and in this case, in Aquarius. Look at things from another perspective. See what you've been missing, because the way you think things are is not necessarily the way things are. This new moon in Aquarius has 4 other planets in Aquarius with it. So there are 10 planets. 60% of the energy of this new moon is in Aquarius. Make your wishes, no matter how wild and wonderful and wacky they are, make them, write them down, own them, because this is going to be a good time of anything could happen. And you want anything to happen in a favorable way for you. So if you have planets in Aquarius, in Leo, in Taurus, in Scorpio, especially in those 4 signs, if you have any planets in those 4 signs, this is part of your lucky time, your lucky break. Make this work for you. This new moon in Aquarius, make it work for you by simply stating what you want and being willing to move towards it. The next major set of aspects, because it's a set of aspects that will be happening, will be from February 11th through February 15th. That means the planet Venus, the planet of relationships and balance and beauty, will be together with the planet Mercury, how we gather and process information, how we think, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, of blessings, of luck. So a lot's going to be going on in that few-day period. So there's Venus together with Mercury, together with Jupiter. How we feel, how we think, and how we expand in order to receive our largesse, in order to receive the gift. So what you want to do is you want to know that this definitely make your wishes. Write those lists. The list I was talking about for the new moon, go back and check that list out on this day, on these days from the 11th through the 15th. Fine tune your list, because you're setting in motion something that is going to operate for most of the year. And why not have your wishes come true? Why not have from your heart and soul these wishes come true? So refine that list, refine that list, refine that list. It's a good thing. On February 14th, we have Valentine's Day, and that is a part of this wonderful Venus relationships, and Mercury, communication, and Jupiter, luck and expansion. So, Valentine's Day, make sure you don't wait for somebody else to buy you a present. Make sure you don't just buy somebody else a present. Make sure you get yourself something as well. Love you. Love you. You're the person you've been with the longest and you're going to be with the longest. Appreciate and show your appreciation for your lifelong companion. February 17th, things get a little intense. Saturn, the planet of what is, the planet of responsibility, the planet of the rules, is going to be square, making a frictional aspect to Uranus, the planet of anything can happen now. And anything can happen now is literally that. There's Saturn, which is the solid ground we stand on, and there's Uranus, which is the earthquake that can come along. So Saturn square Uranus, what you know and what you think you know may not be what you're going to be left with at the end of this transit of Saturn square Uranus. However, Saturn is about truth and Uranus is about truth. So even though Saturn, what we know, is going to be shaken up by Uranus, the unexpected, there will always be the gift of knowing more, knowing better, knowing deeper. And this is what you need to do for yourself. There will be change. Find stability in change. Don't expect stability to mean nothing ever changes. Find stability in change because there will be changes. This is an idea whose time has come. This particular aspect with Saturn square Uranus, a lot of shakeups are going on in our world, all around the world, a lot of shakeups. And what we're seeing is things we never expected to happen. And what we're coming to accept, what we're coming to realize we need to accept is that these things are happening and we need to move accordingly. You've got Saturn here. The big shakeup is Uranus. Saturn says, well, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to let everything fall apart? Or are we going to look at the parts that really work? And are we going to support those parts with even more enlightenment, with even more caring for each other, and even more caring about each other, and caring about our world, and specifically our tribe as ourselves? We have to care about us. We have to care about them. We have to care about all of us. We have to care, and the caring will be shown by the actions you take. It will not be enough this year, definitely will not be enough to say, wow, I'm all for that, and walk away and leave it alone. Saturn is demanding that you do something. Did you get out and did you help the situation? Did you get out and say the thing you needed to say? Did you, in the case of petitions, did you not only sign the petition, did you carry that petition to other people? What organizations, Uranus organizations, what organizations have you become a part of? Have you become important to? Have become important to you? Saturn. A square doesn't always mean disruption. A square means we have many ways to approach that relationship. The friction is there because we're not using the energy. But if we use the energy, then we have cooperation. And we have those petitions that you signed, those organizations that you joined, we have them actually producing the result we were looking for. The next thing we're looking at is on February 18th, we leave the sign Aquarius and move into the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. And Pisces is the culmination of the whole astrological year. So this is the time to reflect. This is the time to clean house. This is a time, and that's emotionally, that's mentally, that's spiritually, that's physically. This is a time to go through closets, to go through dresser drawers. Let's clean things out. This is also a time to find peace within yourself. Let this month be, this culmination month, be a time of constant meditation. And constant meditation doesn't mean you have to sit and go om all the time. Let every step you take, let every thought you have be a reflection of your communication with your divine self. How are you communicating with your divine self? Definitely slow down and see what your roses look like. Not just smell any old roses, but what are yours? What have you grown? And what would you like to continue to grow? And as we move into the sign of Pisces on the 18th, let this be a meaningful transition from one sign to the culmination of the zodiac's year. February 19th, the following day, we have Venus square Mars. Well, we seem to have a lot going on with squares. And so let's talk about conjunctions again. Venus is the feminine planet. Mars is the masculine planet. Venus is the inner planet. Mars is the external planet. Venus is the creative, the building planet. Mars is, let us say, for want of a better word, the destructive, the destroying planet. So you have them square each other. So how can we build and create and destruct and destroy at the same time and make that work for us? We can do that by understanding that as we are born to one thing, as we create and construct, the old is dying, the old is passing away. So that is a destruction of sorts, but not necessarily a negative one. So again, what needs to be released? Talk to yourself. What needs to be released? Tell yourself the truth. What needs to be released? And then release it. When you have Venus, you have acquisition. When you have Mars, you have, well, what is the word for it? You have an ability to dispense. So you're acquiring and you're dispensing. And when Venus is square Mars, it's going to challenge you to let go of some of your beautiful darlings. Now, supposedly it was Tennessee Williams who said, if in creating and writing, you have to be willing to murder your little darlings. What that means is those things that you hold dear, that you have aspired to, or that at one time inspired you, or that are important or were important in some way, but are no longer important. They actually only get in the way of what you're creating. You have to let them go. And Venus square Mars is very much a thank you for the inspiration. You say to whatever Venus brought in, but Mars says we now have to destroy it. We have to get rid of it. We have to pass it on. So allow yourself to be creative in letting go. Let go. Donate things. Now, it's difficult with what's going on with COVID, but set things aside. Go through what you need to go through. Uh, go through your closets, go through the dresser drawers, go through old papers, but and set aside that is still useful to others. Pack those things in boxes, and a time will come when you'll be able to shift those boxes to the next owner. Take care that Venus square Mars is not entirely destruction with passion. Both Venus and both Mars rule passion. But let's make sure that passion serves you and serves others. On February 20th, thank God, Mercury will go direct. And I say thank God because this is an intense Mercury retrograde, and it's going to be an intense Mercury retrograde. Weird stuff is going to happen. Be grounded. This would be a good month to wear ankle weights everywhere you go, even walking around the house, because you need to remember to stay grounded. You need to remain grounded, and you need to let yourself do even the more unromantic aspects of what life presents to you. You need to allow yourself to do some of the grunt work. And when Mercury goes direct, that's exactly what you will have to do. You're going to have to do some cleaning up of what went retrograde and what went wrong during the retrograde. You're going to also be able to do some acknowledging of how well you did during this retrograde. Give yourself permission to be not only for yourself, but to be for your world, for your tribe, for your environment. Then on February 25th, the planet Venus, which I just spoke about her, the planet Venus will go into the sign of Pisces. Venus is in its best at the sign of Pisces. However, Venus in Pisces is not always as grounded as it needs to be. This is an excellent time if you've got an idea to compose music or to write something, to make that something, create. Don't just dream it, because very often Pisces is content to dream. But Venus entering in its own sign of Pisces, let those dreams manifest as something in the material world. Be careful that everything you see and feel is real, because when you have Venus anywhere near Pisces or its ruling planet Neptune, you have an opportunity for imagination and illusion to take over. And this is definitely a case when you don't want your imagination or your illusion to write a check that you really can't cover. Because at times like this, you make promises or you make alliances or you make romances that later on you wonder, what was I thinking? So be grounded, understand that you need to have always an alternate exit. You've got to have another path because you need to, at this point, be ready to change your mind and shift gears, move in a different direction with this Venus in Pisces because you will be waking up to the illusion. And it's better that you wake up to the illusion now than you wake up to the results of being in an illusory state later. And then on the last aspect of the month, February 27th, we have the full moon in Virgo. This is going to be a great full moon. Remember all of that cleaning out I was telling you to do, all of that sorting through I was telling you to do? Well, that's Virgo loves that. So when that full moon hits on the 27th, that full moon is really going to want to know, well, did you do it? Have you been clearing things out? Have you been cleaning things up? And that Virgo full moon is going to want to take one last sweep through those closets, through those files, through those dresser drawers, one last sweep. And whatever else is still there wants to go through there and clean it out. Now, this cleaning out is not only for objects, this cleaning out is also for belief systems, old thoughts, negativity, anything that does not serve you being present and you moving yourself forward in a positive way. It's also being a full moon, time for moon water. And this moon water is going to be pretty interesting because Virgo is one of our nurturers. We have the moon in Cancer is a nurturer, but Virgo also nurtures us. Virgo grows the grain. Virgo rules grain and the growing of the grain. So this is a time when the basics of life are going to nurture you. This is a perfect time for you to set out that moon water and to sip from it in the following days, to sip from it, to pour it into your bath water, to pour it into food you're cooking. This is an excellent time to bring some of the goodness of the fields into your home and into yourself. And with that, that's the end of February. It's going to be an interesting, wild month. Give yourself plenty of time and plenty of opportunity to take advantage of this wonderful wild weirdness and to also enlighten yourself because Aquarius, which is what most of this month is about enlightenment. So lots of joy to you and lots of blessings.